Welcome everybody. This is Point Avenue Growth Series. The Growth Series is focused on picking several students who have gone through our program and have exuded personal development, personal growth, and leadership. So I'm Zach, I'm the Director of Outdoor Education and lead our summer boarding camp programs, this year's Summer Leaders Camp in Yin 2. I'm excited to welcome Zap. Zap's a camp legend. Zap was at our summer camp in 2021 and really impressed me and many of the other staff members.
Hi, my name is Zap. I'm 12 years old, gonna be turning 13 this year. I study at Delta Global School and I was a squad leader in SLC, Summer Leaders Camp in 2021.
Zap was very young for a squad leader. Typically we don't accept students at such a young age just because we want to make sure students are mature enough for the responsibilities of the position. But Zap being 11 at camp and having to lead students, what was the oldest squad member in your group?
I remember that she was like 14 to 15.
What was your experience being somebody so young, having to lead other people?
So it was quite hard at first. There are a lot of bigger and also older peers, and like they were thinking that how can such a young student or a young camper lead with us mature and also older, like to be calmer and also to listen to more people in the first and second days of camp, trying to make them understand what I'm actually like. And they actually follow me after those 1 or 2 days where they realize that my potential and my maturity is enough to lead them.
You said, all right, the beginning was difficult, and I think many people in a leadership position can understand that. Coming to a new team, there's always a transition, right? But you experienced success. What were, maybe if you could tell people listening, what were a few of the things that you did that really helped earn the trust and the respect of your squad?
Like there was the scavenger hunt, and like we would have to build a dam in like a small river, so we would get wet because we have to go into the water. And so a lot of like the clothes were limited at time as we don't have much package. So dry clothes are necessary for survival at camp. And so I had to like jump into the river and get myself all wet to set an example that, guys, we're not going to build the dam, or we're not gonna successfully build a dam if we don't get wet. What's the point of not getting into the water and not getting wet, right? So, moving on to your question, what was it again?
So you led by example before you were ever selected as a squad leader. What caused you to do that? Was that something you learned, observed, just naturally who you are?
So there are some parts of what you said that are true. I felt at that time that I needed to do something because my team was stuck there. So it was something in my body. Also, I read a book that I don't really remember. That there was a great example about showing like leading with examples. So I tried to act like in the book, and it was really successful. Our team got wet, but like the wet clothes dried off when we do other tasks, and we completed the task and everyone was happy in the end of the day. So yeah.
I kind of like it. I feel like there's a unique parallel already for you. Just saying, hey, somebody needs to jump up and be a leader, right?
Yeah.
At any given moment. And it's like you guys are by the water, and it's like, what's the point of coming to the water unless you jump in, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with like your perspective of leadership. It seems like hey, somebody's got to lead. Somebody's got to jump in the river and take charge.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's say we might as well jump in the river, right?
Yeah.
I do think you experienced some personal growth and personal achievements. Is there a specific event at camp where you felt like, wow, that was a highlight for me as a leader?
So there was this day of hiking. I was one of the fittest in my squad, and there was like this little boy who was unfit, to say the least. He was struggling to hike up the mountain, like into mountain, the place where we had our camp last year. And I had to carry his backpack for like the first half of the trip, and also carry him personally like 5 to 10 minutes through like roads and paths that are difficult to hike up. I try to help my team as a whole, trying to accomplish something as a whole more than accomplishing individually, because accomplish as a whole, as a team, with my team, would be a lot more better than me just accomplishing excellence.
That's good. Now, I do have a question. So the goal was to make it up as a team, but what if I would have came to you at camp and I'd said, hey, Zap, if you make it to the top of the mountain before anybody else, there's this great reward for you, right? No, you get free room inspections for the rest of camp. Would you have changed your approach, or would you have continued in the action you did?
Cleaning your room is something that I think is really important at camp that Point Avenue has taught me, and not cleaning it would not make it as my trait now, because I do clean my room at my house nowadays, because what PA did to me at camp. It is more important to earn the trust of your squad mates rather than just accomplishing something of your own. However, making friends with your squad mates at camp, and also making them help out me in difficult times, because I had helped out them in difficult times, is much better. I still have that little boy that I carried the bag in contact with, and that's because I did that to him, and I really value friendship.
Zap, every time I talk to you, I think maybe we should just have Zap come and teach a leadership camp at class. Or leadership class at camp, right? Because there are things that you were able to extract from your experience are really impressive, honestly, and I admire that about you as a mentor, watching you grow, and it encourages me. I do want to know one thing. I think we'll have to call your parents after this to fact check, right? Make sure you're still cleaning your room. Okay. There was one morning that the entire camp was farming, right? So as part of summer camp, we're learning hard work, diligence through farming. And after we finished a farming activity, Zap was part of the crowd listening. And so the farmers were explaining, really, what did we do that day? Why did we do it? What did we do? They wanted the students or the campers to understand everything they had just participated in. And so we had somebody actually helping translate for the local farmers, and there were a few words that they didn't know. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So there was a few words that they didn't know, and Zap knew them. He was like, oh, I know these words, I can translate these, right? And so Zap, all of a sudden, he went from helping one or two words to standing up in front of, how many people do you think were there?
Maybe 50 or 60.
50 or 60. So we had 77 campers, plus probably about 15, 20 staff members. So Zap was standing up in front of almost 100 people without being prompted by anybody. He just said, there's a need, somebody's talking, it needs to be explained, and I can do this. And so without ever being prompted, you stood up in front of the entire camp and just started translating, which I thought was pretty cool. That's a lot of bravery. Did you think about that in the moment? Like, what were your thought process? So
my thought process was like, a lot of foreign students don't really understand, and was like, some was asking me, like two of my roommates, And so I thought that I know this knowledge of translating the words that the farmer is saying to English. So I set myself to try, because why not try it, right? I think failure and success depends on you. If you have a good knowledge of English, and also if you're confident enough in yourself to translate, then I don't think there's a huge percentage of failure. I think the failure part comes from when your ego isn't high and you were forced to translate, or you weren't prepared for that, or you weren't confident with that.
Now that we're coming to the end of our discussion, one thing that we always encourage at camp and our life coaching classes is this idea of reflection, right? Anytime you have an experience, you won't learn that much unless you stop and take time to reflect on it. So now that we're coming up nearly a year, hard to believe, right?
Yeah.
Nearly a year since this experience you had, can you reflect back and tell us, how do you see yourself in a leadership role? What is your leadership style that you can now reflect on?
So in camp, at the beginning of camp, when I was a leader, when I was first a leader, I did try to push a lot of people to strive for excellence, like on my standards. A lot of people became fed up of this because their goal was trying to for example, have fun, or their goal was less of a standard of mine. So I changed and mixed it up a bit, and I added something called persuasion. I try to persuade a lot of people when they are fed up, they're easy to give up, and tell them what are the benefits, and what the ending goal of this activity is. And so they would feel like they would have more passion and encouragement for that activity, and therefore do it.
What you're saying is, it's not that pushing people to do better is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? Did you still push people to do better than they felt they could?
Yeah.
Right, of course, a good leader always does that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you push people, but then you had to learn, it's almost like a finesse skill, that sometimes you have to tailor your communication to somebody. Because if you're constantly do better, they can get a little demotivated.
Yeah, demotivated.
So you had to learn what specific skill as you push people towards excellence. And I think just observing you, I would say that's something I did see you grow in, was you at first were kind of like a drill sergeant, get in line, go, right? But then as you progressed through the program, I watched you just care about people, right? And that was shown in your opportunity of, hey, you have a squad member going up the mountain and he's struggling, let me take your backpack, right? It's those practical examples of caring for people, earning their trust, and then learning to motivate them to be better, which is going to put you on a track to hopefully grow in leadership throughout the rest of your life. So I'm proud of you, and I'm glad that you were able to take some time to come share with our audience. And I look forward to having you back at camp.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today and listen to Zap's experience. Zap is an incredible student, but honestly, he represents many of the campers that join our program. One thing that amazes me the longer that I do this job is that the children that come through our program have the ability to learn amazing lessons. And this was just a small sample of some of the many lessons that our students learn. And I think as they participate in the program, just like Zap was talking about, we encourage reflection. And so as they walk through, they experience deep personal, collective leadership growth, because there's so many students out there just like Zap. And what they really need is somebody to take the time to be present, to walk alongside them and mentor them as they pursue personal growth. And that's what camp's all about.